Welcome, I'm Dani Walker. Today's episode is all about Miss Universe farewell gowns from the past 10 years. This episode is a part of an evening gown series, so if you want to see even more evening gown episodes, you can check the playlist that's linked in the description. And if you really like the episode, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell. Let's get things started with Miss Universe 2011, Layla. The thing that I love about farewell gowns is that they can be so different from your competition gowns, although I will say that there are some farewell gowns in this episode that I think that these queens could have competed in and still won. So this is a really, really beautiful look. And it's very different from Layla's crowning moment look. So when she competed and won, she had her hair up in a high bun. It was very, very elegant, but here we're seeing her hair down and cropped short. So she just came out and looked very, very different. Now, I thought that this gown was absolutely beautiful on her. Silver is the perfect complementary color for her, in my opinion, although she did win in gold, so these metallics are really working for her. What I like about this gown though, because she has the short hair, she had the high neckline, but we still had that little bit of sexiness with that sheer panel, and there is a little bit of sheer lace even in the center of the dress, more towards the hemline. So it was beautiful, she was elegant, definitely a very Miss Universe worthy farewell gown. In 2012, Layla's successor, Olivia Culpo, wore a blue evening gown for her final walk. Now, this evening gown for me was very unexpected, but I will say that Olivia's evening gowns when she was competing most of the time were very unexpected. There was always something unique about them, whether we're talking about color or cut, and when she won Miss Universe, her red ball gown with that deep plunging neckline was incredibly unique to see at a competition. It was a choice that surprised a lot of people, and she really fought to wear that evening gown to Miss Universe. She was very insistent that she loved that gown and really wanted to wear it, although it's not the typical gown that we see. So in true Olivia form, we're seeing another evening gown that to me is uncommon for pageantry. Now, I think that the color was really great on her, but I was not a fan of the 3/4 sleeve detail here. I'd rather have seen a full sleeve or no sleeve at all. I'm wondering if this was the same designer that she wore for Miss Universe, which was Georges Hobika. I'm not sure that I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I think it possibly could have been. Let me know in the comments below if you know who designed this particular evening gown. Don't forget to share which Miss Universe's final walk gown was your favorite in the comments. Gabriela Isler of Venezuela wore a white evening gown for her final walk, and something that somebody commented in recent episodes reminded me of this look, and they referenced that a lot of Miss Venezuela's in years past would win in white evening gowns all the time. So I felt like maybe this gown was in a way a tribute to that. It's very Venezuela, and I liked this entire look. I think that she looked like a celebrity here. I really liked the contoured lines around the waist for this gown. It just gave extra shape. I thought that the hairstyling for this entire look was absolutely perfect. Then she went with a classic red lip. So this is something that we didn't see her compete in, but for your final walk, these are those moments where you can pull out a very different look that you wouldn't use for competition. To me, the other interesting thing about seeing her in white is that she also had white evening gowns for competition. Usually we tend to see title holders choose a different color for their final walk than what they competed in. So in this case, she stayed very consistent. Miss Universe 2014 wore a very simple, classic little black dress for her final walk. It did surprise me though, because this entire look was very different from what we saw her in when she won. I absolutely loved her winning evening gown that was just encrusted in stones, and it was sheer. She had curled hair, but here we went from that light, bright look to straight hair, smoked out eyes, black evening gown. I think that the star of this gown was the back, but unfortunately, I don't think that all the camera angles were that complimentary of this gown. It felt like the moment that we started to see the back of it from the telecast, that they would switch to a different angle. So it made her gown look very, very simple. I think that when you have an evening gown where the focal point is the back or the side of it, that it's really important that you hit the right angles on stage and have great camera angles. And I think a good example of that was Pia's winning evening gown, because the back of it was stoned, but Pia had some really, really great shots of the back of that evening gown and really worked the dress in a way where you could feature that part of the gown. And I just felt like because it was the final walk that we didn't really get the moment to appreciate the entire gown because the main focus was on the back of it. If you're preparing for a pageant competition and you need some help organizing all of your prep, check out my free pageant prep course that's linked in the description. Miss Universe 2015, Pia Wurtzbach, she decided to wear a blue evening gown for her final walk. And so here's one of those rare occasions where we see a title holder winning in a certain color and then wearing that color again for the final walk. But I will say that the shades of the blues were slightly different. And also this year was, I felt the first year that I saw, in many years, that I saw a final walk gown that made me go, the moment that I saw it. I just looked at it and I just thought, this is such an iconic look for a Miss Universe. And of course, it makes sense to put it on Pia, right? And this was the first time that I felt like I was really taking notice of the final gowns because this gown really stole the show. It was gorgeous. I loved it, loved the styling of it. What a great final walk choice to really commemorate such a special moment. And of course, the evening gown was designed by none other than Filipino designer Michael Cinco. Miss Universe 2016, Iris also wore a gorgeous, gorgeous final walk gown. This gown was also created by Michael Cinco. It, to me, was a very sexy final walk look, but when I saw this gown on her, I thought she could have competed in this, and I think won in this evening gown. And that is something that I personally really loved, but I always think there's no reason that you can't continue to be wowing people with the wardrobe. Just because you're giving up the title, it doesn't mean that you can't come out with something that's spectacular, and I thought that this gown was spectacular, and it has been one of my favorites in recent years. 2017, Demi, she's always glowing. This evening gown, very, very unique. The fact that we're seeing a multicolored gown for finals that's in the colors green and yellow, which when do we ever really see that? That's not an easy combo, I think, to pull off. But somebody had mentioned that there could be some cultural significance to wearing green and yellow, and it could be a reference to South Africa. Now, I don't know if that's confirmed or if it went into the process, but I will say that South Africa tends to be very intentional with their gowns and the reason that they place a title holder in something. So it wouldn't surprise me if this gown had some sort of South African connection. I loved the hair for this. It was pulled back out of the face. Once again, like I said, she's always glowing and just, it was her moment. It was beautiful. 2018, Catriona Wood with this gown. When I saw this gown, it reminded me of something that came out of the Hunger Games because it was epic and it was huge. And I remember after the show walking up to the stage and just seeing this gown, and well, wow, to see it up close is so much better than to see it on the telecast. So just imagine that. If you liked this gown for her final walk, imagine in person, it's 1,000 times better. This gown was made by Mac Tamang, who also designed Catriona's Miss Universe gown. It was nice to see her continue on with that same designer and for them to work together again because the product was absolutely epic. In 2019, Zozi, in true Zozi style, wore a gown that was significant to her, and she mentioned that she is her ancestors' wildest dream, and so this gown was, in a way, a tribute to her ancestors. It was unique. This gown also reminded me of Natasha's national costume because of the beads that were draped down the side. I'm not sure if it's the same designer, but this gown to me was so memorable, but also very well done. The way that Zozi pulled it off, and even the headpiece that she wore, all of it. I loved this farewell gown. Very unexpected, but in all the right ways. Miss Universe 2020, Andrea Meza wore a Michael Cinco ball gown. What a dream. What a dream. This gown was nothing like I expected because it's not something that's similar to anything that she's competed in. I love this gown. I don't see it as a competition gown. I do see it more as something you would wear to the red carpet. Think like Cannes Film Festival. Can you imagine a gown of this size on that red carpet, yes, I feel like it's the perfect place for it. Or here, for your Miss Universe final walk. I really like the detail of the ruffles. She reminded me of a holiday Barbie. You would see Barbie in something like that. And I like that her hair even had the soft wave, which seemed to complement the ruffles. And then it was pulled back and out of her face. The color of it is perfect on stage, perfect on her. It's like a magenta or a fuchsia. And then the way that all of the stones scattered through the skirt and it sort of looked like flowers all around the skirt. She is a fairy tale princess here for me. This gown, it's like fairy tale. Gowns like this are ones that I would imagine being in a Disney live action remake of one of their princess stories. Kind of like when everybody was waiting to see, oh, what does the gown look like for Cinderella when they did the live action? And you have these big expectations for what the gown is gonna look like. So if there were a princess that wore this color for Disney, I could imagine a gown like this being in one of those live action films. Thanks for watching this episode. Remember, it's a part of a series, so if you want to see my 2 other recent episodes featuring gowns from Thailand and South Africa, you can click them right up here on the screen. I hope that you enjoyed the episode though, and that you'll choose to come back for lots more of them. I'll see you soon.